Assalamu alaikum, we are back. Okay, let's make a little bit of revision. And we already what have done for the first session, we already added a class and we added a student, this is class, and then we created an answer sheet or bubble sheet for our exam. Next step, we will create the exam and we will okay, these are how to create a quiz or exams. Okay, this is our step. Now you get your mobile device, you can open the zipgrade app and click on quizzes, and we can create the quizzes via the app or the desktop. Mobile phone and desktop computer must be connected to the internet for the records to be synchronized together. You don't need to be connected on the internet when scanning if you are doing offline exams. But if you want to see the results on your desktop, then you must be connected to the internet. Okay, this is the way. Now let's move to this to watch this.
Hello, I wanted to share with you some of the new features we've recently added to the zipgrade online testing system. We've received a lot of great feedback from the first version that was released 2 weeks ago, and have incorporated a lot of the feedback into what I'm about to show you. That said, we're continuing to add new features based on what we are hearing from teachers around the world who are using zipgrade for their remote testing needs. Before showing you the features, I want to take a step back to identify the two primary ways online testing can work with zipgrade. Because of the flexibility built into the zipgrade mobile app, teachers have grown to use zipgrade in a number of different ways. To match that with the online testing, we've come up with the two online submission methods, open submission and verified submission. Open submission is what has been available so far in the zipgrade online testing system. Teachers enable the individual quiz and receive a URL specific to that quiz that they distribute to their students. Any student with that URL is able to take the quiz and is prompted to enter a name and/or ID number before beginning. However, the system does not validate the name or ID number against a student record. This allows anyone to take a quiz without the teacher needing to populate student records within zipgrade. For this reason, open submission is the quickest way to get started quickly. The other type of submission is verified submission. This is a more structured way to administer one or more quizzes to known students. It does require that student records are created within zipgrade and those students are assigned to classes. Once enabled, each student is assigned a student access code that, along with their student ID number, will allow them to log into a student portal. This student portal will contain all of the current and future quizzes assigned to that student. With more rigor around verifying the student, we have the opportunity to offer more options. Teachers can schedule a window for when a quiz is available to take by the student. Teachers can enforce submission limits, so students can only submit one paper. Teachers can optionally show the student's score immediately after taking the quiz, or even which questions were marked incorrect. Teachers can also upload multiple test versions. The application will assign the version randomly to each student, showing them only the question sheet that applies to their assigned key. Overall, open submission is best if you don't have or don't want to create student records, you're looking to get started quickly to assess your students, and can accept some manual cleanup of multiple submissions. Verified submission is best if you already have student and class records defined, have multiple quizzes you wish to assign to students over the course of time, and can communicate your students' access code individually to them. So let's get started showing the new features. So let's take a look at an example of an open submission quiz. So here we have a quiz that I've set up already. It has a key and no tests have been submitted yet. Under online submission, I click on View Edit Remote Testing Options. And under Open Submissions, I enable Open Remote Quiz. With that, I'm given a URL that I can distribute to my students, as well as a few other options. I am going to go ahead and upload a question PDF file. And with that uploaded, my students will be able to see the questions on the same page where they're submitting their answers. So all I need to do is distribute this URL to my students. So acting as a student, I come to any web browser or mobile device, enter that URL in, and I'm prompted to enter in a name and an ID number. Go ahead and check the box and begin my quiz. So I'm able to see multiple pages of the test itself on the right-hand side and submit the answers on the left. I'll make a few selections here and click Review and Submit to Teacher. So after reviewing my answers, I will submit to teacher. And for open submission, I'm provided an example of what the answer sheet physically would look like as if I were to manually enter in those values. I'm also given a confirmation number. It's a good idea for your students to write those down or take a screenshot of the paper just in case there's any problems. As the teacher, I can come now and look at the quiz and I see that that paper was submitted and graded. For verified submission, you first need to enable your account to allow for the students to log in to the student portal. So under my account, there is a student portal, which is currently disabled, and we're going to go ahead and enable the student portal. Also, you'll want to take a look at the time zone and set it to a time zone that's more appropriate for you and your students. Once that is enabled, we can come into quizzes and we can schedule our quizzes. So I'm going to come to midterm 2020 and view remote testing options. Under verified submission, we can now upload PDFs containing the questions for each of the keys that will be randomly distributed to the students as they begin, and begin a quiz assignment. Under quiz assignment, I can set the class, the date and time the student should be able to begin a quiz, a date and time of the last time they should be able to start the quiz, as well as how long they should take when they start the quiz. You can also select to show the score or the missed questions, as well as the number of times you'll allow the student to submit. There's even space for adding additional instructions that will be displayed before the student begins their quiz. So that was our first quiz defined. Now I'm going to come in and schedule a second quiz. Astronomy, different times. I'm going to put this one out to Friday for a 30-minute quiz and create the new assignment. Unlike the open submit, we don't give them a URL for this quiz. Instead, we need to provide the students with their access code and ID number. So for example, Padme here has this particular access code, which we're going to copy, and her student ID number is 98700. So it'll direct your students to go to the student portal entry, which is at zipgrade.com/s, where they'll enter their student ID number and the student access code. Now that we're logged in as Padme, we can see that there are 2 quizzes scheduled as expected, only one of which we're able to begin right now. The second will be available on Friday. So let's go ahead and begin the quiz and select a few answers. We'll go ahead and submit this to the teacher. And unlike the open submission, the verified submission gives us the option of showing the student what their scores are and which questions they answered incorrectly or correctly. Once the student's done, we can see that they did submit this paper, so they have a positive feedback that it was submitted to the teacher. As always, if you do have any questions or feedback, please let us know at help@zipgrade.com. Thanks.
Okay, we can now. Okay, any question for that? And since I will repeat all these steps,